Chapter 5. Ever since Bebe Churchill was a little girl, putting curlers in her doll's hair and coloring in their fingernails with markers, she dreamed about having her own beauty salon. She even had the name picked out. After high school, Bebe entered the Indiana School of Beauty, quickly rising to the top of her class. She learned how to weave a French braid as tight as a Twizzler, wax an eyebrow without so much as a pinch, and buff a calloused heel smoother than a baby's behind. She could crimp and curl and clip and trim as well as anyone. But the thing that set Bebe Churchill apart from the rest was her uncanny eye for color. Bored with the humdrum nail polish colors available at the manicure stations at school, she decided to try making her own. She started with a clear base. She added tiny pinches of powdered eyeshadow, patiently mixing the colors until she achieved the exact shade she wanted. For extra sparkles, she added a sprinkle of glitter, then dropped 2 metal ball bearings into the bottle, screwed on the cap, and clickety-click-click, shook it until the polish was blended and smooth. "What an extraordinary color," one of her teachers exclaimed, holding up a bottle of iridescent blue nail polish Bebe had concocted. "I've never seen anything quite like it." A proud graduate of the Indiana School of Beauty, Bebe Churchill returned to the Clover Hitch to be near her family. She rented a cabin by the river and took a job as a shampoo girl at the only salon in town. Hair today, gone tomorrow. The owner, Devorah Flynn, quickly recognized Bebe's gifts and promoted her to head stylist. For the next 14 years, Bebe saw to the beauty needs of the fine citizens of Clover Hitch. Whether coaxing a reluctant child into the chair for a first haircut or putting the finishing touches on a nervous bride-to-be, Bebe had a way of putting her customers at ease. Her appointment book was always full and her styling chair never empty. Beauty salons, like churches, are places where people tend to unburden themselves and bare their souls. Bebe never gossiped herself, but she was a good listener and heard more than her share of confessions over the years. Secrets in a small town are about as easy to keep as a snowball on a radiator. But when it came to Bebe Churchill, even the juiciest of secrets was safe with her. One day on a whim, Bebe bought a lottery ticket at the 7-Eleven on the corner of Marion and Main, and against all odds wound up a winner. After that, everything changed. It wasn't an astronomical sum of money she'd won, but it was enough to make it possible for Bebe to quit her job and begin searching for the perfect spot to open up a salon of her own. There wasn't room enough in Clover Hitch for 2 beauty salons, so Bebe began contacting real estate agents in neighboring towns and found something that looked promising 20 miles east in Royal. The Frosty Boy had seen better days, but the minute she laid eyes on it, Bebe knew she had to have it. Mabel Matthews, the real estate agent who had arranged to meet Bebe and show her around the place, couldn't have been more pleased. "Shall we go back to my office and get the paperwork started?" she suggested, eager to strike while the iron was hot. Bebe hesitated. "I need to make one phone call first," she said. Mabel stepped outside to give Bebe some privacy. The phone call Bebe Churchill made that afternoon lasted only minutes, and by the time she hung up the phone, she had been entrusted with another secret. "Mabel," Bebe called out when she was done, "can you come in here, please?" Mabel was certain Bebe was about to tell her she'd changed her mind, and why wouldn't she? The place was practically falling down. "I could show you something else," she told Bebe. "There's a darling little storefront downtown with a partial view of the river and original—" "I don't need to see anything else," Bebe interrupted. "You can drop the papers. This is the one for me." Bebe Churchill's plan was to open her new salon on Memorial Day. There was a lot of work to be done before then, but Bebe could hardly wait to roll up her sleeves and get started. The previous owner had built a cozy little apartment behind the ice cream parlor. After all the major repairs and renovations had been completed, Bebe and her 10-year-old French bulldog, Mo, moved in and quickly made themselves at home. Every morning at 8 o'clock sharp, an army of workers would arrive with toolboxes in hand, and at 5 o'clock sharp, they would climb back into their trucks and drive away. Bebe worked right alongside them. When they left, she would start dinner and take Mo for a walk. Later, after the dishes had been washed and set to dry, she'd sit down at the kitchen table and make nail polish. Bebe had decided her salon would feature only homemade polishes. She spent more than she really should have on a beautiful antique glass cabinet to hold them. According to her calculations, it would take exactly 100 bottles of polish to fill the shelves, and she wanted them all ready by opening day. It had been quite some time since Bebe Churchill had made polish, and her first few attempts were a bit lackluster. But after a while, she got the hang of it, and soon the shelves began to fill with an amazing array of one-of-a-kind colors. Deep reds and playful pinks, tropical oranges and luminous blues, greens, yellows, silvers, and golds. Using a mortar and pestle to grind up the powder, she'd place a tiny funnel in the mouth of a bottle and spoon the colors in one at a time. Then she'd add the ball bearings and clickety-click-click shake until it was smooth. Night after night, Bibi worked her magic, and when at last she was finished, the nail polish cabinet glowed like a stained glass window, filling the room with a heavenly light. Slowly but surely, the salon came together. Bibi chose a sunny shade of yellow paint for the outside and installed long wooden flower boxes filled with a medley of pansies, sweet peas, and petunias. Along the front walk, she planted honeysuckle and 6 large snowball hydrangeas, carefully sprinkling coffee grounds and grass clippings around the roots so that the blossoms would turn blue. In lieu of a traditional sign, she commissioned a local artist to carve a giant honeybee, which she hung above the door on a sturdy wire. Inside the salon, the bee theme continued. The walls were stenciled to look like honeycomb, the styling chairs upholstered in black vinyl with bright yellow stripes. The pedicure tubs were made of golden glass, giant silk flowers hung from the ceiling, strings of tiny lights shaped like bees wound around the base of the pink porcelain shampoo sink, and along the back wall of the salon was a row of dome-shaped hair dryers, hand-painted to look like beehives. Most of the original fixtures from the Frosty Boy had outlived their purpose, but Bibi did keep a few souvenirs. An ice cream scoop with a wooden handle, a large glass bowl that she scrubbed out and filled with candy to place on the counter beside the cash register, and an old photograph which the previous owner had left behind. It was the first thing Bibi had seen when she walked into the door of the Frosty Boy with Mabel Matthews, and she had taken it as a sign that she was meant to be there. A week before the opening, Bibi sent out flyers printed on bright yellow paper offering a free manicure to anyone who stopped by the salon before noon. Then she crossed her fingers and waited for the big day to arrive. On Saturday morning of Memorial Day weekend, Bibi woke up early. After a light breakfast of ginger tea and wheat toast, she got dressed, put a dab of vanilla behind each ear, she preferred it to perfume, and took Mo for a long walk to calm her nerves. By the time they returned, a line of customers was already forming outside the salon. Bibi was so happy she practically jumped for joy. "Welcome," she cried as she hurried up the steps to greet them. "Welcome to the Beehive."